Let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm.
Welcome back, everybody. Jaysin Static with another episode of the interview series. I am Jaysin Static. You, sir, are
Rynar the Hooligan, the last Yams Viking.
Rynar. How long have you been in the wrestling now?
About 18 months.
18 months. All right. You know how this goes. We've got a new way of doing things. Part of the Fight Club crew, so you know all about this shit.
Yes, sir.
So are you ready for your first question?
Let's go.
Could you tell us about a particular coach, trainer, and or vet who you've had interactions with, who had a significant impact on your wrestling career so far in the 18 months that you've been around, and how has that guidance influenced you as a performer that you still use today, and what was that tip?
Well, honestly, I mean, as you know, most of our tips come directly from you.
Right.
So we know whenever we're messing up, but I will say,
for the sake of the video, let's just not use me.
okay. Well, one piece of advice that I got that was impactful was from Ricky Cruz, and it was more so on the tag team side of wrestling, and how he liked the gimmick, he liked what we were doing, but he felt like we needed to add more aggression.
Right.
And then there was a really enlightening conversation about merchandise sales and target audiences that I had with him. That has really changed my thinking about designing merchandise these days.
How so?
Okay, so like most of us, everybody wants a cool t-shirt.
Right.
Know? They want a t-shirt that's going to hit, it's going to pop, everybody's going to want it. But the fact is the largest part of our audience is children.
Right.
And they're not into that type of stuff. Not yet. Not until they become teenagers, not until they get older.
Right.
So as a worker, you need to be able to take your gimmick and create not just merchandise for the teenagers and adults, but for those kids, because you've got that shirt that's got, something that's more kid-friendly, something's going to catch a kid's eye.
Right.
What are the odds he's in bed? Dad, I want that shirt. And whenever he buys that shirt, what are the odds Dad's going to see the cool one and be like, you know what? I want that one too.
Right. You never know.
You never know. But that target audience, anybody that watches wrestling, anybody that's a wrestler themselves, look out in the crowd. What do you see mostly?
Kids.
Kids.
There's a lot of kids in there. And then there's a lot of neckbeards too. There's
a lot of neckbeards, but we ignore them. We try to make sure that the kids don't grow up to be them.
But I mean, I get that, but how's that changed so far?
Because it's got me it's got me opening up my mind to more ideas on what kind of merchandise I can do, not just for my regular fans, but for the little kids that want to be Vikings like Rynar.
Yeah,
want to be Vikings like Rickser and DK.
Okay.
So instead of just focusing on I want to get money from the grown-ups, like no, play to them kids, because those kids are going to be there for you longer than the grown-ups.
Now, what have you, as far as merchandising stuff wise, what is something that you've worked on that you didn't initially look at before?
A couple things. So I'm looking into more kid appropriate t-shirts. Nothing with the screaming face and the skull, but maybe like, an action figure design.
Right. Okay.
Or, like a cool Viking design that's going to catch kids' attention, bright colors,
Right. So more kind of like John Cena friendly type stuff.
Kind of, but you still have to work. You still have to work all that around your gimmick.
Right. Well, because like if you take Cena we're just going to use him as the major example because like he's one of the biggest merch sellers for that particular area of people.
And he's one of the biggest merch sellers, period.
Yeah, and if you've looked at a lot of his logos and designs and stuff that WWE's done for his stuff, a lot of that stuff is based off of other stuff already.
Absolutely.
Like he's got a Pabst Blue Ribbon design for a shirt.
Well, I mean, there was other people like, oh, why is he doing yellow and green? Because it was John Deere's colors.
Yeah, John Deere. I've seen a couple of beer inspired logos
Absolutely.
and stuff like that, but he's tweaked it and turned it and made it a little bit different.
He's made it something that's approachable and kid friendly, but at the same time instantly recognizable with an older audience.
Yeah. So, and that's one of those things that it hits both at the exact same time. It hits both the kid friendly and the adult, because the adult is reminiscent of like, I know what this logo is. I know what this design is.
And the kids are just like, oh, this is a cool logo.
Yeah, this looks cool. So like, it on that note, is that kind of I don't know how to say it. Is that, would you think something like that is marketing bad things to kids?
That's kind of iffy. I mean, if you're using the color scheme, no. If you're using the full logo, like let's take Chris Jericho, for example.
Yeah.
Back in the Attitude Era, whenever he first came to WWE, he had the Jerichoholics t-shirt. And it had a Jack Daniels design on it. Had the bottle, had the Jericho on it. Looked just like a Jack Daniels bottle.
Okay.
Something like that's never going to get over today.
Right.
But it was something instantly recognizable for, I mean, unfortunately, the teenage and the older audience.
Right.
The kids just thought it was a cool shirt.
Yeah.
But that was promoting it, I think, just because it was actually the bottle, the logo. The only thing that was changed was words.
Okay. And do you see yourself in the future? Because you're one of the older guys in the game. You are older. You're in your 30s already. How do you think your merch game, and hell, we can even go a little bit further, the merch game in the in all of the Fight Crew, because we talk about that stuff in our little group chat all the time about merch and stuff like that. Do you see our ideas and concepts and stuff like that changing in the future?
I do. I think once everybody realizes what their target audience really is,
right,
everything's going to change. Using a Fight Club guy, for example, Eagle Eye.
Yeah.
Eagle Eye needs some killer t-shirts because, let's be honest, Eagle Eye's basically a real life superhero.
Yeah, kid-friendly guy. He was at a convention this past weekend.
He's a kid-friendly guy. He knows his target audience, but now he's got to market his merchandise to that audience.
Right.
Because the merchandise that he's got out now, Eagle Eye. The tie-dye shirt is super lame. But the other one, with his logo and the Eagle Eye on it, like that's cool, but that's not something that a little kid's going to want.
Right.
That's something that a teenager and adult's going to want.
Mm-hmm.
Once Eagle Eye starts marketing to the little kids, Eagle Eye is going to start making a little more money out there.
A lot of money, I think.
I agree, too.
I agree.
And with how much you spend on your gear, good sir, do it now.
Yeah, do it. Make sure that's like your next thing that you do. Like
kid-friendly Eagle Eye shirt. Your gear will be paid for in a month.
Yeah, kid-friendly Eagle Eye shirt, bro. I'm telling you, a kid-friendly Eagle Eye shirt would be dope. Absolutely. But and that's something that I for a long time I did, streetwear and merch and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I've had this new idea that I'm not going to mention the name of it or anything like that. But when I drop this new thing, it's going to be super cool. Yeah, and it's going to hit target areas between all of those target areas. Yeah. Because I want to, not just with you guys, but even my merch game, because I've been doing merch, whether it be Jaysin Static merch, or anything like that over the last 13, 14 years, through my YouTube and all that stuff. So, I've been doing all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I need to change that because, believe it or not, my merch sales started falling off a little bit. Yeah. Towards the end of last year, and I'm like, man, I'm not selling as much as I used to.
I had the same problem, in wrestling, t-shirts are one of your biggest merch movers.
Right.
When I had t-shirts, people didn't want them. It took me forever to get rid of them.
Right.
Now that I don't have t-shirts,
people want them.
That's
one of those things. It's like, you gotta figure, and this is something I've told people. I was like, try out a design, buy a handful of them, buy a small run of them. And sometimes some designs are going to be great sellers. We're going to go back to Eagle Eye.
Yep.
That tie-dye shirt. It wasn't a great seller for him, from what I understand.
No, it wasn't. I've been at shows. I've seen it.
But that other one that he has done fairly decent.
Fairly decent, yeah.
And it's pretty much the same design, just a different color shirt, different style shirt. You know, so like it's one of those things you got to try.
You got to.
You're going to take a lot of losses on shirt. Like I had my first shirt. I remember the first shirt that I ever did before the Jaysin Static skull.
Yeah.
It was a shirt. It was a skull, and it was a pencil drawing skull. Like it was a skull. I drew the design, and I had somebody make it digital because this was back in 2008. And it was a skull with a sword through its head. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is dope. And it just had my name and like a lightning bolt looking like stuff.
Yeah.
And it was the absolute worst design that I ever made. It was the first one. Not one shirt of it ever sold. Ever. Did not sell one. Several months later, I did that other one. Sold all of them.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck that.
It's a crapshoot, man.
Yeah. It is one of those things with merch, like if you're listening to this and you're this far into the conversation so far, try out merch, try all your ideas, because you never know which one of those ideas are going to pop off, right?
Yeah, never, man. I've got 4 t-shirts out there and one of them people like.
Yeah. But, all right, man, I think we've talked enough about this. Where can they find you? Merch sites, websites, t-shirt sites,
so you
upcoming shows?
You can find my merch at prowrestlingtees.com. You can find me on all social medias, either at Rynar the Hooligan or RynarOfficial. And you can catch me next Saturday in Mount Vernon for IWA Productions, where Dear Colthar and I defend our IWA tag titles.
Nice.
For the first time.
All right, we're going to run it out just like we always do. Jaysin Static across all social media. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Check me out. Fight Club Wrestling Academy. Facebook, YouTube. Check me out. And when I drop this new idea that I have for merchandise, I promise you it's going to be super, super, super cool.
It is.
Rynar knows about it. I know about it. But you guys don't. Take it easy, guys. Thanks, Rynar.
Thank you.